describes the sun?
Yellow.
And now, Kim, when you go outside and you look up at the sun, which I'm assuming you have, what's the one color that you tell me it is now?
I can't tell you that. The last time I remember looking deeply in the sun, I was in India, and it looked orange.
I'm going to challenge all of our listeners tomorrow to go out and look up at the sun and tell me the first color that comes to mind, and it's going to be stark white. Not yellow, it's stark white. And as an engineer, what makes something go from yellow hot, which is not very hot, to white hot, which is very hot? And it's usually the amount of energy being dispensed by the body. I believe, along with a lot of other scientists, that our solar system, as it goes around the central sun every 24,000 years, which means we haven't been here since the 24,000 years ago. This is this going through the various Pisces, Aquarius, different sections that make up a 360-degree circle. Well,
I'm a little lost with where you're going here, but
where I'm going is our solar system makes a circle around a central sun every 24,000 years. Every 2,000 years is called an age, the age of Aquarius, which relates to the precession of the equinox. Okay? Now, all I'm saying is our solar system goes around a big merry-go-round every 24,000 years. And right now, and for the last probably 50 years, we've been passing through an area of space that we really haven't before. And that area is highly energized. From what? I don't know. But when this high energy is hitting the solar system, it's causing the sun to create much more heat. It gives off more solar flares. It causes our planet to heat up. It causes our skin to burn quicker. And so there is a change in sun here. And so
it's not all UV to blame.
No, there's
it's organic.
Yeah, and then once you get into this situation, there are other environmental things like pollution, which exists much heavier now than it did in past histories. And as a result, the sun is really altered coming into the body. And if you understand anything about chemtrails or these condensed trails that have been coming over the planet and being sprayed by planes for 14 years now.
Not everybody knows what a chemtrail is.
A contrail is a trail of super hot gases coming out of an engine of a plane.
Did you say a
contrail? They're natural, and they dissipate in about a few seconds or a minute at the most. But a chemtrail, which is not condensed gas but actually particles, is on the white smoke stays all the way across the sky and then takes hours to dissipate. Well, this is actually what's called a chemical trail or a chemtrail, and primarily is made up of particles. At least a lot of people refer to aluminum oxide, barium sulfate, stuff like that. But essentially, I believe the stuff is being put up there to block UV. That's getting heavier coming from the sun. At least that's what the stories that I hear are. But in reality, by blocking the UV, we let other hotter stuff come through, and our body, which grew up on this planet under UV, no longer is getting enough UV. So this turns the whole story about UV upside down.
Totally upside down.
Exactly.
So how do most of us buy this? I mean, this is the complete opposite of everything doctors are saying. Many doctors are saying this is against the entire status quo of talk about sunlight. And
that's true, but also people talk about how good fluoride and chlorides are in water.
That's true.
You can take your position on either side of that fence, and people talk about how good additives are to food, and there's both sides of stories that people get that they can take sides of. But
is this
unfortunately,
verifiable?
it's the main media stuff that comes out that gives you the story, and then where do you get your alternatives?
I agree. Is this all verifiable?
Oh, yes. I mean,
where?
I am an engineer, and by training, I basically can't utter words. It doesn't, unless I know for sure that's the way the things are working. It's part of my training.
Okay.
And I'm 65 now, and I've been dealing with this stuff for a long, long time. And so everything that I touch is verifiable, and people who want to follow up are going to be able to request studies and information.
Can they do that from you at your website?
Yeah, they can come into the website.
Why don't you just give that right now in case some people, just with right now with the frame of reference you've established right to this point, if they want to challenge you or talk to you or get articles, give your website address, please.
Okay. The website is Light, L-I-G-H-T, Energy, E-N-E-R-G-Y, Company, C-O-M-P-A-N-Y, .com, lightenergycompany.com. If you go into there, you'll get some information, but more importantly, you can forward emails on to me.
Okay.
And that way I can respond or get you in touch with articles. So, okay, so what I've said so far is that sun is essentially a frame of reference for life. Knowing the sun is actually changing now means it's even more important to consider the artificial light, because before we used to be able to go out in the sunlight and compensate for some of the bad artificial light. Now, because the sun is changing, that we're getting burned more out there, we're getting less UV, then you got to get smarter and say, what am I going to do with the place that I spend all my day in and most of my night in, which is your home or your office? So there's your source of light. So maybe this is a good time to talk about the artificial light a little more, huh?
Yes, please stand by. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuning in to It's Rainmaking Time. We are streaming this broadcast live on the World Wide Web. This is Kim Greenhouse. We have invited a kahuna in the area of light, David Olszewski, who has the Light Energy Company, who's a manufacturer of phototherapy equipment and distributes heat therapy units. He has a background in electrical and industrial engineering. We're delighted to have him here today. And yes, I would, and so would the audience, would like you to elucidate about full spectrum lights. What do we do to take care of the fact that the sun has changed? That, in fact, the truth is the opposite. We don't get enough UV. What are we supposed to do?
Okay. Now let's talk just for a second, if you would, Kim, about what is artificial light. And we touched on it a little bit. It's really your incandescent screw-in bulb. It's really your fluorescent tube and these new compact fluorescents. But mostly the tubes are the real problem child. And the other one is the halogen. Now, why are these bad? Well, first of all, they produce the primarily yellow, orange, red. And that frequency, when it hits your body, any exposed skin tissues contract, the nerve endings contract. So when you're under yellow light, your body's under a great deal of stress. Even if it's a happy day, you got stress on you. Second, yellow light doesn't absorb into paper, so it bounces off as glare. So when you have this artificial light and you're trying to read, it makes your eyes squint and puts people into reading glasses a lot earlier than they should. It also is a depressant on the immune system. Now, with a fluorescent light, you have even more problems because you have flicker, the 60 hertz flicker on them, and you have radiation out of the magnetic ballast. And John Ott, who's a pioneer in all of this development of full spectrum light, or which means simulates sunlight, showed how all these things had tremendous detrimental effects on people. And
animals.
And in fact, that say an office worker or secretary or a manager, anybody who's in an office a lot, who's in front of a cathode ray tube, which is your desktop computer screen, your fluorescent lights above you, and the AC current that goes through the walls. If somebody spends their time there and then goes out for sun in the afternoon, they're 400 times more susceptible to cancer and skin cancer than a lifeguard who spends his entire career outside.
That's